So, did you think the music was good?
What?
Okay, that's lunch. If anyone is not sure how they should be sitting, have a look at Jesse. Oh, what a fantastic straight back.
Thank you, Mr. Freddie.
You're welcome. Hello, and welcome to my outstanding lesson. What are we doing, Jesse?
Today we will be interviewing a teacher about a memorable teaching and learning experience from their career. It could be memorable because it was great, it could be memorable because it taught them something important, and it could be memorable because it was terrible.
Who are we interviewing today?
Today we have a very special guest. We will be interviewing my mother.
It's your mama!
It's my mom,
How awesome.
Monica Mackenzie.
I didn't know that was her surname.
Yeah.
Eminem.
And my name is Jessie Junk, so actually we both have alliterative names.
Yes. Oh, maybe alliteration will come up later in the
Maybe.
podcast. We'll have to see.
Maybe.
I'll have to check this, but I'm pretty sure this is the first time that we've had a guest on the podcast that birthed one of the hosts.
This is definitely the first
Definitely,
time.
okay. I'll tell you what for that.
But I'm imagining our other guests birthing you.
Let's move on immediately. She's your mama. I've got the utmost respect for her, which means I will not be shouting a times table in the style of an Austrian bodybuilder. But there is...
No turbo round.
Correct.
Okay.
But there is a word that if your mum says, she'll be in detention.
Yes, I have chosen a word that my mom often says.
Is it, I love you, darling?
She does say that, but I don't think she'll say it mid-podcast. Okay, so my mom is Canadian, as am I. And we were discussing recently that when I go home, I often notice Canadian accents. And she said, well, what do you notice? And I said, well, with you, I always notice. And she says, whoa, all the time. And so she'll be like mid-story and she'll just stop. It's almost like she stops to think and she goes, whoa, whoa. So yeah, I think she might stop and say, whoa.
Monica, no being impressed with your own story.
Another thing she said recently was turkey banana.
Okay.
Can I have two? I would love it if she would say turkey banana in this.
If she says turkey banana, she wins the podcast.
She wins?
She wins.
Okay.
Turkey banana.
If she says
That's too
whoa
good.
mid-sentence, then she has to have a detention.
Okay.
If she says turkey banana, she wins $1 million.
Right. I think we should call her in. Oh, hi Monica Mackenzie.
Hi, Monica.
Come in. Hello, Monica.
Hello.
Hi, Mom.
It's fun being here with you guys.
So you guys have just had a whistle-stop tour of China.
Yeah.
We have.
Thoughts?
Wow, so many. Oh, wow. Jesse and I were talking about the highlight, and we really think it was being with Fiona when she was having these conversations with other Tibetan people and how privileged we were to be privy to that. And some of them shared really personal things. It was very touching.
Fiona's a friend of ours who we work with. She's actually a teacher, but she has spent a lot of time in Tibet volunteering, and she speaks Tibetan. So it was a very unique experience because she could translate for us and help us understand what the people were saying.
Wow.
It was far more intimate than I ever dreamed. It was really...
What was the best thing you ate?
Oh.
Good question.
There was so much good food. I'm having a hard time coming up with that, but
I saw on the internet that you ate a sheep's brain.
That
That
was
was
the worst
not-
thing that we ate.
that was not on the up list. That was on the down list.
But it was a highlight of the trip, for sure, watching Mom eat a sheep's brain. Yeah. She ate the whole, I think you ate the whole brain, right?
Yeah.
I had a small bite, and I was like, well, I don't like this. And then Mom ate the whole sheep's brain.
Yeah.
She's not
Wow.
a waster.
Okay, cool. So before we start the lesson, we like to make sure everyone's warmed up. So today we are playing This Is A, This Is Not A. So basically, one of you will start by saying, this is a, and then name a noun. The second person adds an adjective to the noun, and it has to be an alliterative one.
Okay.
This is not a cat. This is a cuddly cat. Okay. So, Jesse, would you like to go first?
Yeah, sure. This is an apple.
This is not an apple. This is a crispy apple.
Good, except it's not alliterative.
Uh-oh. Okay, what's alliterative?
Oh, good question. That's a good teaching moment.
The first sound of the adjective has to match the first sound of the noun.
Oh.
Yeah, so cuddly cats or
Amazing apple.
amazing.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to go first? You get to choose the noun.
Okay. All right. This is a laptop computer.
This is not a laptop computer. This is a lazy laptop computer. This is a rosemary bush.
This is not a rosemary bush. This is a rotund rosemary bush.
Very nice.
Redeemed yourself there, Monica.
This is a guitar.
This is not a guitar. This is a grand guitar. This is a plant.
This is not a plant. This is a plantain plant. This is an agave plant.
This is not an agave plant. This is, oh brother.
Just choose all plants.
Is I'm stumbling. I'm stumbling.
Amazing.
Okay, this is an amazing agave plant.
I enjoyed that. I learnt a lot, mostly about plants. Okay, everyone warmed up?
Yeah.
Sure.
So before we start talking about your lesson, Monica, maybe you could briefly tell us a bit about what you do as an educator.
Oh, okay. Well, so I'm a Baha'i, and in the Baha'i community, one of our jobs is to provide teaching in our little local assemblies. So we have these little local assemblies in different areas where we live. And so my husband and I were doing children's class a couple of years ago, and
Can I cut you off for a second?
sure.
What is a Baha'i?
So Baha'i is a religion. It started in 1863 when Baha'u'llah declared his mission. He's the leader, and his vision for the planet is peace on earth. And his main focus is unity. How can we all work together to contribute to unity on the planet? So we had this one lesson plan we were supposed to do, and I was really nervous about it because I thought, yikes. It turned out so well. After I was like, wow, I learned a lot. So one of the initiatives Baha'u'llah has set for us is this thing called consultation. And he said one of the things that we need to do on the planet is learn how to consult, because we come from such different backgrounds. But he says we have to begin with a spirit of love and acceptance. And when there's consultation happening, everybody that's present has to contribute. And if they don't, it's not true consultation. So
that means even the kids.
Even the kids.
Okay.
So here we are in a children's class, and we have to teach them about consultation. So it was really cool. So we got together, and in our little book, it guided us with a problem. So here I don't even remember because this was a while ago. I don't remember what the problem was. But we're sitting in this community like a tribe, and all the people are sitting down to come up with a solution. And there was people of all ages in this tribe. The children were present, the adults were present, the elders were present. And so we looked at who was in the room who showed up that day for class. And we had the one fellow who drove the kids, so he became the elder. Actually, everyone got to choose what they wanted to be and who their character was. So everyone chose their character.
It's like a murder mystery.
Kind of. And then we had dress-up clothes, so everyone gathered their dress-up clothes, and it made it light and fun. I was kind of nervous because I was sort of running the show, but everyone was having a good time, so that was good. And then I can't remember what our problem was, but it was a big problem. It was like no water. It was something huge that affected everybody.
Oh, I like this problem-based education. So you give the kids some kind of problem. The community doesn't have water. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
And then they have to consult with each other and come up with a solution.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so we did. We gave everyone a few minutes to get in their character, get their costume. And then we sat in a circle, which felt unifying. I thought, oh, this is kind of cool. And we sat down and everyone contributed. And we came up with a solution. And the weird thing is I don't remember the solution. I don't remember any of that part. I just remember this good feeling like, oh, wow, this works. This system is amazing.
Sounds great. So, sorry, did you say they have costumes?
Well, we did. Like, I just went out and because we were running the children's class, my husband and I just went to a thrift store and got a whole bunch of just odd different things of
Things that
different
might be
sizes.
fun.
Yeah, things that'd be fun.
What fun.
Dress up's always fun.
Yeah.
It was really fun. And just as soon as everyone started dressing up, you'd hear people laughing, and it made a lightness in the room, and it just flowed.
Cool.
So is this a Baha'i school?
Oh, no. Like,
No.
we all run it out of our homes.
Okay.
We don't spend a lot of money as Baha'is. And when you have a local spiritual assembly, it'll be in a different community. And just the way it works right now, because there's so few Baha'is, is right now we have one for all of Courtney. But as time goes on, people will have them in their neighborhood. I think we only had 3 or 4 children show up that day. But we did have several adults on the periphery, so everyone just joined.
So there's no distinction between the learning that an adult would receive and a child would receive. We're all sort of the same in this lesson, is that right?
Very much so. In fact, I think a lot of the adults were kind of blown away because we're learning the whole time. It's one thing I love about this religion. It's a super grassroots religion. And we're always encouraged. We have cluster meetings to get together and talk about what we're learning. And it's really empowering. It's very grassroots. I love it.
So is everyone in the room Baha'i?
Nope, not in children's classes. We open it to the community, and some people show up that aren't Baha'i.
Cool.
So in this lesson you're talking about here, we have this problem, and then the group of adults and children need to work together to formulate a solution. Is that right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did a situation happen where the adults are doing the heavy lifting and the kids become marginalised, or is there a way to get the children in and almost get them to contribute? Because there must be quite a temptation for the adults just to do either everything or all the important stuff themselves. Like, how did you get collaborative work?
Yeah. Wow, I'm trying to think back. This was like a couple of years ago when we did this. I don't even specifically remember, but because I felt responsible for the group, I remember asking the odd person, well, what do you think? Well, what do you think? Because I wanted to make sure everyone got a say. And if, in fact, what was funny is the quietest person was the eldest person there. So he was just cracking jokes, which I thought was hilarious. But we all wanted to hear from the kids.
Yeah.
So it felt like it was working, the way I remember it.
So the purpose of this, what was the purpose of this class? Is it to convert kids to being Baha'i? Is it to share your values as a community? What's the purpose of it?
Well, each lesson involves several things. It usually involves prayer and an activity and a scripture. And this class was 2 years ago, and I can barely remember. But I remember thinking the gist of this class was to help them understand the concept of consultation, because they could take that into the world with them. We try to be as practical as we can as Baha'is, because the world needs a lot of skills right now. And so our children's classes and our youth classes are about helping children work together with other people, because that's what they need to take into the world. This is my understanding. I don't know what another person would have said from that.
I think you've pretty much hit the nail on the head. The sort of buzzwords around education at the moment are all about children being taught to collaborate and communicate and share ideas rather than just amassing mountains of knowledge, because we have Google that can tell us everything we need to know, so actually being able to sort through, discuss and utilise important information is something that robots struggle to do. So that's something that humans need to be practicing and will be valued quite highly. So I think maybe it's a slightly different mechanism to how a lot of mainstream schools are doing it. But I think a lot of the underlying goals and themes are probably quite similar.
It sounds like it. This is really intriguing to hear you say this.
Yeah, I've thought this before, actually. So I'm not Baha'i, but I always think it sounds very similar to all the, I guess we would call them the values of 21st century education, where you're really focused on, sometimes we call them soft skills, although that's not the best way to say it. But yeah, communication and collaboration and one of the things I hear the Baha'is talk about, or my mom talk about, is intercultural communication and working with people from different. Something I see the Baha'is do is they'll get together and they'll have people from all different religions there, and they're all just sharing. And the idea isn't necessarily to teach them to be like you, but to listen and to consult and to share and to get along with people from all over the world.
It feels so good to me that it's inclusive instead of being exclusive. Yeah.
I think generally we're talking about values that could be completely humanist if you look at them from a different kind of perspective. So from my perspective, we're talking about being open and being tolerant and being understanding and the word you said, being inclusive. So it doesn't take too much of a viewpoint shift to see that from a completely, I suppose, atheistic point of view. So although I think maybe there aren't too many Baha'is, or what you're saying is maybe a little bit esoteric in some ways, in other ways it's completely universal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I really feel like the teachers learn more than the kids. It's an amazing opportunity teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can relate to that,
Me too.
I feel like if I'm feeling, cringy word coming, like enriched by something I'm doing, I feel that there's a good chance the kids will be as well. There's sort of a correlation between how I'm finding the lesson and hopefully how they're finding the lesson. And I think if it's instructive and useful and engaging for me, it probably is going to be for them as well.
I think so. And a friend of mine said, if you're having fun, the kids will be too.
Yeah.
I think it
That's a good ending point.
generally works well, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming, Mom.
Well,
Monica,
thank you so
thank
much.
you so much.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was great. Thanks, guys.
Have a safe trip back.
Thank you.
Bye, Monica.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Mom.
Well, I really enjoyed listening to what your mum had to say. I thought she spoke a lot of sense. Although we should say her views reflect what she believes is one person's views, and we're not necessarily hitching our wagon to that. That's just one person's experience.
Absolutely. And it was really great to have maybe just a slightly different approach to teaching on the podcast today, I
Yeah,
think.
very interesting. And not just because it was your mama.
Not just because it was my mom.
She managed to avoid detention.
She managed to avoid attention. She did say, whoa. But she was telling a story about how she felt. And she said, and I thought, whoa. So it wasn't quite the way that I meant for her to use it. For her to get the
slipped
attention.
through the cracks there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, she didn't say turkey banana either.
She didn't say turkey banana. What a turkey banana. Mm-hmm.
Well, I thought that was great. Review time.
Okay, this one comes from one of my favorite No, that's the title. Can you delete it?
No, this is good. Give it in.
From Rack3RS. One of my favorite education podcasts is the title. It has some great recommendations of resources and advice for teachers. And a really catchy theme tune. We think that too.
Yes.
One request, please find some guests that can handle the pressure of a multiplication question and get it right. With a prayer sign and an emoji with a man that has sweat dripping down his face.
Burn. We're trying. The person that left the review has made a fair comment. However, they don't really they don't understand what the pressure is like when Arnold is in the room and looking into your eyes.
Do you think that maybe we're making all teachers look bad by creating a podcast where teachers consistently cannot do multiplication?
Maybe. I'd not thought about
up
it.
to 12.
I've not thought about it until now.
Huh.
One more. Title: I love this pod. 5 stars. And the review says, I'm sure at the idea stage this was great. Thank you, Welsh Rarebit 2. Loves the ideas.
Thanks, guys.
You're listening to My Outstanding Lesson. Now it's time for the feature where we keep you up to date with all the tidbits from China. That's right. 这是什么?
你好吗?
China news. What's our China news this week?
Why don't you tell me, Freddie?
I thought we were going with your riveting plumbing story.
Today I got a shower filter installed that helps to remove heavy metals from your shower, which I think is a China story because I've never... Oh, are you just saying it's not an interesting China story?
Yeah. 这是什么?
你好吗?
China news.
You can follow us on Instagram at myoutstandinglesson.
And if you'd like to follow me personally, my teaching account is Mr_Butler_primary. Also, please make sure you're subscribed so you get a new episode every week. I think it's time to say goodbye.
Bye!
Goodbye.